Hi everyone, my name is Sébastien Lagree. I am the creator and founder of Lagree Fitness. Today I want to talk about the micro. I want to talk about which version of the micro is best for you and if you need any accessories. We have a lot of accessories. I know it can be a little confusing when you go online. Hey, which one do I need? Let me start with this. First of all, the micro does not need any accessory. When you buy the micro, the number one, you're going to get this. This is the main unit. Okay, we call this the base unit, the main unit, or the first configuration. You get a front platform, you get a carriage, and you got 4 springs. That's it. But like this, you can use the micro. You can do your lunges, your planks, your skating. There are hundreds of exercises you can do with this machine like this, so there's no need for accessories. So if you're tight on the money, if you don't know if you're going to like the micro that much, if you're also tight on the space, right? Because if you don't have a dedicated space and you need to move your micro around, I would say buy the micro number one. That's it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it by adding all the other accessories. Just buy the micro number one. You can always buy the accessories later as you need them. The micro is 71 inches in length, 18 inches across, 5.5 inches deep, and 50 pounds. So it's actually very easy to move around the house. You can definitely use the micro. Look at that. It's hanging off this thing. It's about 50 pounds. When it's on the ground, I got my wheels, and I can literally just move this wherever I want. So again, if you're not sure about this workout, if you're not sure how everything's going to work, micro number one, try it, and then after that, you can add from there. And then if you want to, you can also buy the storage rack, and you can use it to store your micro. The storage rack is a great option for studios who have micro classes. So if you're a studio and you intend to have micro classes, I highly recommend the storage rack. And also for studios who are going to have micro classes, if you're not going to have micro classes all the time, you're going to move your machine back and forth because you might be using the same room to do yoga or kickboxing or Pilates or whatever, then I would recommend the storage bracket because then you can just put your micro on top and you're good. And again, I would also recommend for those users the micro number one. That's it. Don't overthink it. This is what you need to do the workout, right? The platform and the carriage, you get the most important part. Now the micro uses 4 springs. And that's very important to understand. 4 springs. It comes with 2 black, 2 red springs. Each black spring is 12 pounds. Each red spring is 70 pounds. But it's not constant tension. We're not talking about 70 pounds like a dumbbell. We're talking about a progressive resistance, which at the top of the contraction will give you 70 pounds. So this is how the spring works, right? If you don't know how it works, you can also look at my other video on how the spring works. When you stretch that spring, you're going to get more tension. When you compress the spring, you're going to get less tension. This is called progressive resistance. So as we move the carriage out over here with the black spring, we're going to get 12 pounds. With the red spring, we're going to get 70 pounds. If you're not used to work with the springs, I highly recommend to get 2 of the springs. There's a white and a gray spring. The white spring gives you 6 pounds of tension, so this is half a black. This is kind of a baby step spring. So I would highly recommend that you get that, especially for the exercise on the back of the machine. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. This is the gray spring. The gray spring gives you between a black and a red spring about 35 pounds of resistance. And same thing, right? Each spring has a progressive tension, so it's going to start with a few pounds and go all the way out to 35 pounds of tension. So the micro is not a reformer, and it's not a budget reformer. If you think you're going to do a Pilates session on the micro, you will not be able to do Pilates on the micro. Why? The carriage is way too small for you to lay on your back. Even if you're 4'9", you cannot lay on your back on the carriage. The carriage is too small. And the reformer is used only one direction. All our equipment is used 2 directions. So you're going to use the machine on the front, and you're going to use the machine on the back. On the front, you're working with a spring, and the spring are helping you against gravity. So if I do like a lunge, for example, the springs on the front are going to help my body weight against gravity, which is fantastic because the springs are actually going to help me to keep my perfect body alignment against gravity. This is why Lagree is low impact. We are able to maintain all the proper body alignment because of the use of the spring. When you work on the back end, you're not working with the support of the spring, you're working against the spring. So on the front, you're working with the support of the springs are helping you. On the back end, you're working against the spring. And that's something that we became really good at Lagree. And of course, you're still on the back end, you are still working against your own body weight. So on the back end, you're working against the tension from the spring, and you are also working against your own body weight. So that little spring over here, that white spring, is fantastic because it gives you just enough resistance for you to feel basically that counter resistance on the back end without being overwhelming, and you can still maintain your proper form. So the white spring is definitely a spring that I would recommend. So which accessory is best for you? That depends entirely on how you're going to use the micro. Are you going to be using the micro in a very tight space where it's basically you have to pull it underneath the bed, put it in your living room, and then bring it back? Are you using the micro at your house with, let's say, in conjunction with other equipment? Are you going to be using the micro in a cross-functional training facility? Are you going to be using the micro in a group class like we do on the micro events when you have 50, 60, 100 micros on the lawn? So depending on the use of the micro, depending on where you're going to use it, then these accessories will make less or more sense. The first accessory, of course, is the rear platform. So the rear platform is an addition to the micro, and it fits on the back end like this. It's super easy to install. The rear platform, to me, is a great addition to the micro because it allows you to do all the exercise on the back with more comfort. You have the pad, you have the ring of fire. If you don't have it, it's fine. You can still do the exercise on the back against the spring, but you don't have the comforts and you're not level with the machine. So I like the rear platform. And even if you operate with a tight space, you can still use the rear platform. The extra 8 inches in length is not going to bust your living room. It's not going to make it impractical to use. It's also not adding that much weight to the machine. So you can still pretty much put it under your bed. You can store it up against the wall with the rear platform. So the rear platform, in my opinion, is a good accessory to have. The other two accessories are the side handles. So the side handles are super easy to install because we have a pull pin mechanism like this. There's no bolt, you don't need to screw anything in. You can see over here the micro number 5 with the 2 side handles on the front, 2 side handles on the back. These side handles will give you basically a different angle to do the exercise. So you can do twister, which hits the obliques. You can do catfish, which is an amazing core exercise, push-ups, tricep dips, and so on. So a lot of great use. The side handles will not interfere if you have a tight space because you can still store your micro up against the wall with the side handles attached to it. Or if you're going to store your micro underneath a bed or underneath a couch, you can remove the side handles very easily and very quickly. So I really don't think that the side handle is going to be a problem if you're operating in a small space. If you are going to be doing group classes outside, then depending on the number of micro, you may or may not want to do the side handle. So if for example, if I have 20 micros on the lawn, I might do, the side handles. If I do 100 micros on the lawn, I might not have them just because it adds a lot to the setup. So kind of, think about how you're going to use those machines, where and so on. The other accessories are the springs. So the micro is going to come with 2 kinds of spring, black and red spring. And like I said, the black spring, even though it's a light spring, it's 12 pounds at full extension. It might be too much for some of you who have never experienced Lagree on the micro. So I made a smaller, lighter spring, which is called the white spring. So the white spring is this one. It's only 6 pounds. Highly recommend this accessory. If you like to do the exercise on the back end, basically this is your baby step spring. So if the black spring still feel a little too heavy on the back end, I think you'll love the white spring. It's only 6 pounds lighter than the black spring, but it makes a world of difference, I guarantee it. So the white spring, great addition to your micro. especially for core exercise on the back for beginners. Then we have the gray spring. The gray spring is between the black and the red. The gray spring is about 35 pounds of tension at full extension. So remember, full extension means this. It means we're stretching the spring 42 inches. That's full extension. At the 42 inches, you get 35 pounds. So you don't get 35 pounds right at the beginning. You get it progressively as you stretch the spring or as you basically push the carriage all the way out to the back end. Gray spring is a good addition, but I say it's not necessary. I think with the black and the red spring, you're going to get plenty already. We have the gray spring on the Mini Pro anyway. Then we go into the pole. So the pole is actually the most underestimated tool in your arsenal. Remember that when I made the Micro, there was essentially two types of movement that I wanted to do with this machine. The wheelbarrow series or planks, and then the lunge. And it's essentially the Micro is a lunging and a planking machine. You can do so many lunges on the Micro, it's ridiculous. I probably have like 12 or 13 major lunges that we can do on the Micro, if not more. Planks, there are hundreds of versions of the plank because you also have the planks you can do laterally. So lots of this exercise. For the lunges, you're definitely going to want to have the standing pole. Standing pole is great because you place it anywhere you want around the Micro, and it's going to help you to keep your proper body alignment when you do your lunges. So I highly recommend the standing pole. The other accessory that I have right over here is the inflatable pad. So the inflatable pad is to challenge your balance, and I've designed it square for a purpose. Most of the instability pad you find on the marketplace are going to be round, but I find that those pads are too unstable. I mean, I know that's the whole purpose of it, but it's too wobbly. You feel like a disc, and it's really like, you're going to lose your balance and fall off. With this one, you feel the challenge, but it's still doable, and that's because of the square position. I went through a lot of different prototypes, and this ultimately was the best design. And it's got that little grabbing material, that's non-slip material on the top and on the back. On the top is smoother because it's where you're going to have your foot, right? And those inflatable pads, by the way, you can use them with the Micro, the Mini Pro, the Evo, the Mega, the iFormer, whatever those machines that are coming up in the future. This is a great also accessory. Then we're moving into the straps. So we have carriage and platform straps. These straps do not allow you to do more exercises, but what they allow you to do is they give you your body traction. So we have a couple exercises where you have to push the carriage out, like runner's lunge and the skating. This is perfect because it literally acts like a seat belt for your feet, and it keeps your feet properly secured on the pads, so you can really feel the traction. Because as you do the workout on the Micro, you're going to start to sweat. And when you start to use the heavy spring, like the gray or the red spring, and your feet are sweating, you're going to feel like your feet are kind of sliding a little bit. So the strap is going to help you to keep your foot in place. It's also great when you do exercise like the reverse super crunch. There's a few exercises where you sit on your tailbone and you basically put your feet underneath it. Same thing, it keeps your feet nice in the right space, and you can really focus on the exercise. So the strap for me is definitely a must. When we do our Micro events, even when we have 50, 60, 100 people, we use the strap. To me, the strap is like a safety feature as well. So the strap is definitely a must. All right, so now let's talk about the bungee and the cables. So the bungee first. So if you've taken the classes on the Megaformer before, you've probably seen this exercise called the bungee kick. The bungee kick is a bungee cord that is attached at the front end of the Megaformer. And you really only use the bungee cord for one or two exercises. The bungee kick with the bent leg, and then you'll do a bungee kick with the straight leg. And it hits your glutes like nothing else. It's probably one of the best exercises you can do for your glutes. So here you have it on the Micro. You have your universal bungee cable with 3 rings, so that way you can attach it, you can make the bungee shorter or longer. And in order to use your bungee, you're going to need to attach it to the Micro. You can attach it to the Micro using either the Velcro strap or the bungee attachment. I would recommend the bungee attachment because this will give the bungee cord the exact length that you need. And again, this is only to do a couple exercises with the bungee, but there are amazing exercises. So if you want to work on your glutes, I highly recommend to do the bungee. Now let's talk about the cables. So the cables will add literally 600, 700, 800 exercises to your repertoire. When I say that you can do over 1,000 exercises with the micro, that's also assuming the use of the cable. So the cables are fantastic. Again, if you're at home and you don't want to spend too much time and you like to do your core exercise, because some people like to only do a few exercises on the micro, like skating, lunges, and so on, then don't bother yourself with the cable. But if you are going to be using the micro as an all-in-one gym, you will want to have the cables. If you're going to do corporate events, if you're going to have the micro, if you're going to bring the micro to events, or if you're going to do group classes like we do with the micro classes, right, the micro events, I don't know if you're going to want to use the cables or not, because it's just dragging on the floor, and especially you have 20, 30, 40, 50, if you do 100 machines, it becomes this, it's a little annoying to have to attach the cables and drag the cables. So when I do my micro events, I don't use any cables. I will use the straps. I'll use the standing pole. I'll bring those ones with me, but I'm not going to have the micro pulley cables or the micro cable. It's just too much. I like, when you have that many micros on the ground, I prefer to have it much simple. But that's me. You might want to do fully loaded micro and have 20, 30, 40, 50, and if that's what you want to do, you can, okay? Me, I'm just too lazy, I guess. We have the micro pulley cables and the micro cables, so there's big difference between these two. The micro pulley cables have this metal bracket. They also use the rubberized steel cables. These cables are very similar to what you've probably used on the Mega or the Mini Pro. The metal bracket attaches at the back of the micro, and you can also add the rear platform and the handle. So you can have the micro pulley cables with the rear platform and the side handle, just like this machine right over here. So this is the micro number 5. It has the rear platform, and you can see the micro pulley cables on the back end. The cables also come with an extension cord, so if you want to have more or less length, you essentially have this extension cord over here. I'm going to try not to drop this, but there you go. So you can make it longer or shorter. Again, you have 3 rings over here to add or take off some length. If you're super tall or you want even more extension, you can also buy the extension strap separately on the website. So the other cables that we have are the micro cables, and they are right over here. So that's the micro cables. And the difference between the micro cables and the micro pulley cables, if you look right over here, we have the micro pulley cables that are literally coming out over here from the back end. But if we use the micro cables, you're going to have to get the Velcro strap, and then these attach directly on the carriage. So the difference between the micro cables and the micro pulley cable is that the micro cables don't have any pulley. So because now you're pulling directly from the carriage versus pulling from the pulley, you have the source of the tension is going to be different. So there's going to be some exercises that are better done with the micro cables, and there's going to be some other exercises that are better done with the micro pulley cable. So for example, if you do a standing bicep curl, definitely you want to use the micro pulley cables. If you're going to do a chest opener or sexy back, the micro cables are going to be better for you. If you do a kneeling torso twist, you can actually use either, but on the kneeling torso twist, you can actually kneel on the carriage and move with the carriage with the micro pulley cables. But if you want to do the kneeling torso twist with the micro cables, you can't be on the carriage because the carriage is not going to go anywhere. So then you have to kneel on the floor. So again, you're going to have more variations for the same exercise. And if you can spare the extra money, I would recommend to get both. If you are going to be, again, teaching those classes in a group environment, if you're going to be moving this machine constantly from one location to the next, then very quickly bringing the extra accessories with you is going to get very annoying. So again, if you do group classes outside, you're going to move your micro a lot. then I would say start with less and then add from there. So before I talk about which micro is best for you, I want you to be aware that we have 4 other accessories in the pipeline. I mean 5 actually. First one, we have an extension rail. So the extension rail is essentially by you another number 5. So that pushes the length of the micro by an extra 8 inches. So it gives you more range of motion. So this is great if you do exercise like walking planks, or you just want deeper range of motion when you do your lunges. So that's going to be a great accessory. That will come out next year. The other accessory that we've been working on for almost a year now is the rowing accessory. Yes, a rower. You are going to be able to turn your micro into a rower. When you do that, just keep in mind that it's going to add a lot of weight to the machine and a lot of height to the machine, because the rowing accessory is going to be a subframe assembly. So it's going to be like another machine under the micro. And it's going to be great because you're going to be able to use the springs to row, or you can use the springs for your micro. So you're going to be able to do essentially cardio burst in between your workout sessions. So if you're looking for a high intensity interval training, the rower is going to be a great addition to your workout. The third accessory that we're working on is called the Micro Pro Edition. So a lot of people are asking us, I love my micro, but I saw on the Mini you had this hinging platform. Don't worry, the hinging platforms are coming for the micro. This is called the Pro Edition. You're going to be able to swap out the parts if you want to for your platform and your carriage. Essentially, what's going to happen to the micro is that you're going to be able to lift the platform up one level and then the carriage up. So you're going to be able to create basically a V position with the platform and the carriage. And this is fantastic when you exercise extending on the thighs, skating, but also when you do your twister, your bear, your wheelbarrow, any core exercise. Every exercise literally is going to be enhanced by the hinging platform. So that's going to be called the Micro Pro Edition. It's going to come out next year. Then we have the door mount. So right now you see the micro hanging, vertically. I don't recommend that you use the storage bracket to use your micro like a weight machine, like a tower. The storage bracket is only there to hold your micro in place. If you want to use your micro vertically with the micro pulley cables, then you're going to be able to buy the door mount. And the door mount is an attachment that attaches around your door, and it secures basically the position of the micro. And then you're going to be able to use it in a vertical motion. And that's going to be called the door mount. And finally, one of the accessories I'm the most excited about, for one reason, is the ramp. So I know some of you are already elevating your micro, and you put either like yoga block, or you can put some an Apple wooden case or bricks or whatever. That's fine. So the ramp that I'm working on is going to allow you to do the same. You're going to be able to incline and decline your micro. But the one exception is this. You're going to be able to rock your micro. You're going to be able to tilt it. So if you've taken classes with me at our previous studio on La Ciénega back in 2016, we had the machine called the Supra. And then the Supra is basically a machine that you can incline on the back, but also tilt like an airplane. So it's an amazing machine for core engagement. There's no other machine on planet Earth that actually target your core like the Supra. We had to remove the Supra from circulation because the machine was having too many technical issues. So we are working on those issues right now. We are going to re-release the Supra because now we're actually getting much better with our electronics. So I'm very happy about that. But for the micro, I wanted to do something very simple. So it's going to be a manual thing. So you're going to be able to either have your micro going up or down on both ends and then just stay level, or you're going to be able to also tilt it. So imagine if you do a wheelbarrow on the micro, and now you can use your core to tilt it, and that's going to be amazing. And I think that ramp is going to be very successful. So if you love to do core exercises, I think you're going to love to do the micro. It's going to hit your obliques like nothing else. So which version of the micro is best for you? Now you've seen all the accessories that we have right now available. You heard about all the accessories that are coming for the micro. Which accessory is the best for you? So I go back to the basics. Number one is this. If you're operating in a very tight space, in a tight budget, get the Micro One. That's it. Get that machine, subscribe to Lagree OD, start to use your micro, And then from there, you'll realize, oh, maybe I want to get the bungee. That looks like that's a good exercise for me. Or, oh, you know what, maybe I'll get the side handles. I love to do the twister or the catfish, right? I think that's a good thing. If you have a little bit more room, and then maybe you're going to put your micro in a dedicated space at your house, and money is not so tight, then you can get a micro 5, or maybe a micro fully loaded or deluxe, right? So the deluxe and the fully loaded, you have everything you see here, right? That's it. There's every accessory on the website for the micro are included into the fully loaded. The deluxe only has a few accessories. And the best part about the deluxe and the fully loaded is because you buy it in a bundle, you get a discount. So if that's what you want to do, then you have all the accessories at a discount. But remember that the machine, as soon as you start having the handles, the side, all that stuff, it's not as portable as it used to be with the micro number 1, okay? If you love to work out in different rooms at your house, or you like to be with your friend, go to the park or go to the beach, again, less is more. Micro number 1, that's it. Maybe the micro number 1 with the side handle, so that would be a micro number 2, right? With just the side handles on the front. That's what we do at events. So whenever I do a micro event and we have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people, the more people that we have in one event, the less accessories that we bring. The accessories that I always use for my macro events are these ones. I always use the standing pole, and I always use the white spring, and I always use the straps. It doesn't matter which event you go, how many machines that we have, we will always have the straps for you, and the white spring, and then the standing pole. Because to me, the white spring, the straps, and the standing poles are safety features. If you're not familiar with the micro, highly recommend to have these 3. They're going to really allow you to do the exercise more efficiently and better. If you have a cross-functional training facility, you're going to be using the micro, you have other equipments, you have maybe the Versa Climber, or you have the ropes, or TRX, or you're going to be doing yoga with the micro. I think the micro 1 is going to be perfect. Maybe the micro 2, where you have the side handles on the front, that's all you need. Or maybe start with that and then just build from there. The micro is a great machine because obviously you see that we have a lot of accessories and we have more accessories coming in. And the micro can either be a great core machine to do all your core exercises if you want to, or you can turn the micro into a full all-in-one gym if you want to. And that's what I love about this machine, right? Now we can buy an open box micro for $590, but you can also have the whole thing for over $2,000. So you have I think a good spread between the cost and also the functionality. So there's a lot of flexibility and freedom you have with this machine. All right, so now you have all this information about the micro, but if you're still confused or you still have some questions, please email us at info@lagreefitness.com. You can also call us or text us, and then we will go over it with you and we'll find the micro that fits your needs perfectly. Again, my name is Sébastien Lagree. Thank you for watching.